Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the really fascinating psychology behind our everyday digital communication habits. We're going to break down something I guarantee pretty much all of us do, but we rarely stop to actually think about why. So let's just dive right in.
Okay, be honest with me for a second. Have you ever sat there, literally watching your phone light up and vibrate across your desk, silently waiting for the ringing to just stop, only to pick it up a second later and immediately send a text to that exact same person? It's a highly relatable and maybe even a slightly uncomfortable shared experience for a lot of us. I mean, to an outside observer, it looks totally contradictory, right? If you've got the time to type out a whole message, you definitely have the time to just pick up the phone and talk. Well, actually, not exactly.
Let's just strip away the guilt and judgment of this behavior right off the bat. Psychology reveals that doing this really isn't about being rude, and it's certainly not about being genuinely unavailable. Instead, it's actually a highly specific subconscious psychological strategy. There are hidden, hardwired reasons why a buzzing text message feels entirely manageable to us, while a sudden ringing phone can induce this massive spike of stress. It all comes down to how our brains actually prefer to manage social data.
Here is the core psychological promise of what we're unpacking today. On one side of the ring, we have the phone call. This represents a social risk with absolutely zero time to rehearse what you're going to say. On the other side, we have the text message, which offers the total safety of mental analysis and the luxury of responding at your own pace. The choice between the two? It's really a choice between spontaneous vulnerability and controlled safety.
Section 1. Preventing emotional exhaustion.
Let's get into the specific mechanics of this. For a lot of people, direct social interaction doesn't necessarily feel energizing. In fact, it often feels incredibly mentally draining. When you're on a live phone call, your brain is absolutely working overtime. You have to constantly monitor the other person's tone of voice, you're listening for awkward pauses, and you're anticipating subtle changes in their behavior in real time. That level of constant, unbroken engagement, it requires a massive amount of cognitive energy.
And naturally, all that real-time processing leads to mental fatigue. Texting, however, acts as this incredible buffer. Shifting the communication to text allows you to engage entirely at your own pace. It completely removes that constant, real-time energy drain. Basically, it serves as a vital tool to protect your mental space and avoid the emotional exhaustion that comes with having to be on for a live conversation. Section 2. The power of metacognition. This brings us to a really profound mental processing difference between talking and typing, and it's called metacognition. This literally means the ability to think about your own thinking. You see, texting provides a unique psychological opportunity that a live phone call simply can't offer: the actual space for metacognition. It gives you the physical time to take a step back and mentally rehearse your words before you ever actually commit to them.
Because, we've all been there, right? You hang out the phone and immediately think, did I sound totally awkward? Or why on earth did I say it like that? A lot of people naturally overthink social interactions and replay spontaneous conversations in their heads long after they're over. A live phone call forces you to construct your thoughts on the fly, which feeds directly into that social anxiety loop.
So, the absolutely crucial point is this. Texting just makes interactions feel emotionally safer. By letting you analyze your words before hitting send, it completely removes the social risk of making a spontaneous mistake. You get to perfectly curate your response, effectively editing out any potential awkwardness before it ever reaches the other person. It's a total game changer.
Moving on to Section 3. Visual processing and boundaries.
This builds into how human brains actually prefer to capture and store data. Humans are highly visual creatures. We process visual information so much faster, and we remember it a whole lot longer than purely verbal information. A phone call is, by definition, entirely verbal. Because of that, it can feel random, fleeting, and honestly just much harder for the brain to naturally hold on to. Visual information, on the other hand, feels stable and grounded.
Think about it. When you text, that conversation becomes a permanent visual image. You can always just scroll up to double-check what was just said. For a lot of folks, having that written record completely eliminates the anxiety of losing track during a live, unpredictable talk. You don't have to stress about forgetting important details or losing your focus because the entire context of the conversation is literally right there in front of you. Section 4. A shield against social overload. This addresses our physical environments and the very real human need for personal boundaries. Look, a ringing phone is inherently designed to be an intrusion. It loudly demands your immediate attention right now, regardless of what you might be in the middle of. For people who are already feeling overstimulated by noise, maybe a busy workplace or a crowded environment, that ringing is basically an auditory assault. A text message, conversely, offers privacy and gives you back control over your personal boundaries.
Texting basically acts as a shield against social overload. It empowers you to decide exactly when and exactly how you're going to respond. By dodging that immediate, forced demand of a live call, you significantly reduce the mental overload that comes with the modern pressure of constant connectivity. You're quite literally taking back control of your own time.
And finally, Section 5, the emotionally safe screen.
This one focuses heavily on vulnerability and visibility. Think about social media for just a second. There are literally millions of people who will silently watch everyone else's stories all day long, but will absolutely never post an update of their own. Why is that? Because staying in the background feels safe. Texting operates on that exact same psychological principle. When you throw your actual, live voice into a conversation, you make yourself completely visible and open to immediate, unpredictable judgment. Ultimately, texting acts as this incredible form of emotional self-protection. It allows you to maintain a genuine human connection and participate in a relationship while systematically stripping away the vulnerability and unpredictability of live interactions. You get the social bond without the social risk. It's kind of brilliant when you think about it.
So, I really want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. The next time your phone starts ringing across the room, how are you going to look at it? Is it an annoying demand for your attention, or is it a genuine request for connection? Will you just see the intrusion, or will you see a connection that your brain simply prefers to manage with a little more visual screen and a little less verbal risk? Understanding these hidden psychological reasons helps us notice the fascinating details about human behavior that most people never even think about. If you want to keep decoding the everyday actions we all totally take for granted, make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you in the next one.